What's up, guys? This is the Jackal. Goofy little intro there for you. But as you see on the screen here, this video is going to be about L1R1 buttons. I've heard a lot of talk about these, and really I want to find out, I really wanted to know, if they were as good as some people say they are. I've heard both sides of the story. Really, I just wanted to find out for myself. I did a little research. It seems the mechanical style, not the contact style, but the mechanical style seems to be have the better reviews on how they work and everything. So I went ahead and bought a couple of these. They were only maybe like $6 on Amazon or something like that. So I ordered them, and I'll put a link in the description of the ones I ordered if you want to try them out too. But I'll tell you some of my thoughts at the end. What I've put together here is a little bit of footage on me. So what I wanted to do was let you guys see side by side trying to do the same things with and without triggers, how that gameplay looks. So I went into training mode and came up with, just a couple quick little things, stationary targets versus moving targets, and then tried strafing with and without the L1R1. So you can watch the side by side basically and see, if it looks like I'm having more difficulty moving, where am I landing more shots. I'm not by any means saying I'm the best shot in the world or most coordinated player ever, but it is an apples to apples comparison. It's the same player on the same evening, same state of mind. I didn't even stop to eat a meal or anything. I just shot all this footage all at once, and so it should kind of give you an idea. I think I do hit a lot more shots with the L1R1, but you guys can kind of be the judge. Just tell me what your thoughts are. If you've used these, if you use them regularly, how you use them, all this sort of feedback would definitely be appreciated in the comments. If you don't use them or you've tried them, if you haven't used them and you want to explain why, all that sort of feedback. I'm definitely interested in having some conversation on this and seeing where people land. So definitely appreciate the time. I'm going to go ahead and get the footage started here in training mode, and we're going to take a look at how we did here. Alright, so this is an example of standing in one place and shooting moving targets. We can just go ahead and watch here. This is still doing the same thing. Scoped in instead of not scoped in. Didn't really turn out to make that big of a difference. So we're standing, stationary, shooting at targets. Turns out it didn't make a big difference with or without a 1R1. So here's where you start to see a difference. This is strafing at moving targets. So if you have a target that's moving and you're moving, trying to hit these while strafing back and forth, scoped in. This is just without any L1R1 on it right now. Not too bad. But here now we're scoping while strafing at moving targets with the L1R1 triggers. So there is a lot more control. Now this is a controlled environment, obviously. This doesn't account for the panic of somebody shooting back. But you can see the fact that I'm not limited to 2 thumbs is allowing me a lot more options of being able to move and aim and shoot all at the same time. Definitely was handy. This one here is a stationary target while I'm strafing just all in one direction. So I did just several sweeps just to kind of get an idea of how well I could land these shots. This is without any triggers, obviously. So every time I reset to the right, and then I just strafed left and tried to keep, kind of a body mass central. I think I did this 2 or 3 times. This is without triggers. It's a little challenging because you have to move your sight and aim, you have to hold the strafe, and you have to shoot all at the same time. Now this is the same thing with triggers. which I noticed it does make a lot easier because I can use a thumb, my left thumb to strafe. I can use my right thumb to fire, or my right index finger to fire, right? But then my right thumb can be aiming. So it was a lot easier. Oh, I will say that. I think I do it one more time here. Just kind of messing around with it. And we're going to do some run-throughs. This was just an idea I had. You know, a run and gun. This is without triggers right here. This is just running through this little patch of moving targets. Kind of trying to just run and gun. Hit them as I go. This is really testing the dexterity of, you know, being able to move and aim and fire all at the same time. And as you'll see, it was a lot more difficult. So maybe this is like clearing a house, like you're running through a house or running through a pochinki and somebody pops out from behind a building or whatever it may be. I did several of these run-throughs, so I'm going to let it do another one or two here before we switch to trying to do the same thing. As you see, I had some help. Controls and training mode. Somewhere around here, I think I had to split scene because I had to go frag somebody. As you can see, I kind of have to stop here and there, do a little sidestep, a little strafe, because it's hard to aim and move and shoot all at the same time without any sort of triggers or assistance. Unless you like the claw mode. I know a lot of people do that. I'm not a big fan myself. So this will be our last run through without triggers, and then we're going to take a look at doing it with triggers. Alright, here we go. This is with triggers. It was definitely a lot easier as far as the mechanics of moving around, because I could run, aim, shoot all at the same time. I did not have to stop moving, strafing, or anything to be able to fire. I could fire and aim at the same time. It was definitely helpful. Now what you can't see is that a pretty good portion, so just to the left of the aim button, the scope button at my top left on the screen, and just to the right of the fire button, I have big black clips basically on my screen. I wasn't really a big fan of that. The blocked screen space is not ideal. So I feel in the run-through exercise, the dexterity of having those L1R1 definitely helped as far as just knocking these targets down easily. See, I didn't even make it partway across before I knocked them all down there. So I'm getting ready to start a 6x strafing exercise. I started by the table and strafed all the way across to the right to see, while strafing, you know, how accurate my shooting could be. I have an M416 with a 6x here, no other attachments or anything, except an extended clip, that's it. I just wanted to get an idea, you know, that's some pretty precision aiming, shooting downfield like that while moving. And I just wanted to see if there was a difference. There was a pretty clear difference as far as this is without the triggers. See, it's kind of hard to aim and shoot. But if you play back and forth, you'll see the trigger version here in a second. You see how I can't really shoot and aim at the same time. I'm having to aim and then shoot, and then aim and then shoot. It's kind of being able to strafe, aim, and fire. That was the biggest benefit of these triggers. You see me strafing, so I got one finger, my left thumb is on the strafe, and then my right thumb I have to multitask between aiming and firing. So this is the last time through, and I think And here we're going to do the same thing a couple times with the trigger. So you're going to see a clear difference. You still have to account for my not such great shot sometimes, but apples to apples comparisons, remember. This is doing the strafing, trying to hit these targets, but I have the benefit of a little bit more dexterity with my fingers, so. You see on a couple of these passes, I make it all the way out to the farthest target. Trying to do it in reverse here. Made it a little past the table there. So starting at the table, moving right. That was just potato aim is all that was. So this is a quick reaction test I did. You'll see I'm going to position myself as close as I can to the same spot and do a quick spin and shoot with this 2x on a stationary target. So this is regular, this is without any sort of triggers. Just a quick spin, you know, you get shot from behind. Trying to make sure I'm in the right spot here. I don't know what that was all about. Okay. It's a little quick reaction. No triggers or anything. You gotta spin, move, aim, shoot, all with just your thumbs. Okay. Another little quick reaction. This guy decided he didn't want to really leave me alone. He's gone though. Alright, so this is with triggers. I didn't notice a huge difference on this test, unless you're strafing. Really, that's the difference. Is in first-person shooters on the computer and with controllers. I mean, the rule is you always keep your feet moving. You always strafe. You always try to be a moving target, and that's really what these triggers allow you to do. So when I'm standing still, if I'm not trying to strafe, it really doesn't make much of a difference. So anyway, in summary, I played some games after this. I ran some classics, I ran some quick matches, ran some war, ran, you know, several different types of games with this setup in place. And honestly, I haven't been using them. As much as they add to that dexterity of being able to strafe and move around, I haven't been using them. They've been since, you know, the couple days following this recording that I did. I haven't messed with them. First of all, transporting them, keeping them on hand, kind of a pain in the butt. You got this little case or something you got to carry around with them. I'm not going to carry that around in my pocket in case I want to play PUBG out, you know, somewhere at work or doctor's office or whatever. Second of all, you have the controls moving around. If you use them sometimes and don't use them sometimes, well, you have to move these controls around to compensate for that. You got to move your aim, your scope in, you got to move your fire button, and then you got to move them back and forth. You know, and they have the 1, 2, 3 options on the setups for your controls. So I thought maybe you could do like a setup for triggers and a setup without triggers, but they're actually completely different types of setups, so it doesn't really work that way. One has like a tap anywhere on the screen to fire instead of a fixed fire button, you know, on I think in the number 2 setup. So, so it's kind of a pain in the butt as far as setup and moving your buttons back and forth. And, so personally, I've kind of decided that they're not worth it, as much as it does give me an advantage to be able to strafe around and, you know, be a movement ninja, be able to aim, move, and fire all at the same time. Maybe I'll try them again at some point, but for now, I didn't really decide they're worth it. If you have any questions about them or whatever, comments, I definitely would like to have some discussion with people. I'm really interested to hear from some people that do use them regularly and have gotten used to them, because that's what I didn't do. I didn't play with them for a month to get used to them, to where it's kind of a second nature. It's really weird getting used to pulling your index fingers to fire instead of your thumbs when you've been playing PUBG a while like I have. It's really strange trying to get in the habit of shooting with your other fingers. So maybe I just didn't give it enough time. So I'd like to hear from people that use them regularly. I'd like to hear from people that used them and hated them. I really want to get some feedback, kind of figure out where people land on this subject. So I appreciate the time. I know it is kind of a long video, so I apologize, but hopefully I added some value for you. Hopefully you'll hit that like and subscribe button, throw in some comments, give me some thoughts. I'd like to get some dialogue going here. Who knows, maybe I'll send you my triggers or something. I don't know that I'll really be using them. So appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Thanks.